In this video, I will run through the example of a profitability case. The formidable Janvi Bansal, after much convincing, finally agreed to entertain me and administer this case. I was first given this case by my friend Raju, and it remains one of the best examples of how to run through the customer journey in a profitability case and go through a detailed round of solutioning before providing a recommendation.
So your client is a confectionery manufacturer who has been seeing a decline in profit for the last 6 months. Assume that this is not a COVID scenario. So yeah, this is your problem statement.
All right. Just to make sure that I've got that correctly, our client is a confectionery manufacturer, and over the last 6 months, they've been seeing a decline in their profits. This is maybe say in 2019 or something like that. And our
Right.
objective here is to identify why their profits have gone down and see how we can turn that around. Is that correct?
Right. Right.
With the problem statement clearly in hand, we move forward to asking a few clarifying questions before we get into the structure. I have a few clarifying questions that I'd like to run through before I get started with the case. The
Right.
first is just to make sure I've got the right objective. I believe that here we're looking at, first of all, identifying what the root cause of the decline in profits are. And then we would have to come up with a solution to actually turn around the position and improve the profits once again. Is that correct?
Well, yes, it's pretty much the objective.
All right. We clarify once again what the objective is before we go forward with any further questions. The next thing I'd like to understand is what we mean by the word confectionery. I understand that has something to do with sweets, maybe bakeries or chocolates or something of that sort.
Well, yes, you're correct. So confectionery here means sweet and chocolates. But for this case, you can mainly consider it to be, let's say, hard candies, mints, and chewing gum.
All right. We clarify what is meant by the term confectionery, and in the process also understand what some of the product offerings of the client company are. Next, I would like to understand the working model or where across the value chain our client really lies. Do they handle just manufacturing, or up till what point in the value chain do they really function?
Well, that's a great question. So they handle manufacturing and then they also handle the logistics. So basically, the distribution to the retailer, and from there, the retailer sells to the consumer. So all this is something which is handled.
Understood. We clarify our understanding of the working model and thus understand where across the value chain the client in fact lies. And what I would like to also understand is in terms of location. Are we present in India or is this a global company? And are they seeing this decline all across or is this limited to certain geographies?
Well, we are present all across India, and you can assume that the decline is also pan India.
Understood. The other question which comes to mind is geography. And so we quickly clarify where exactly this client lies geographically speaking and where the problem is also restricted. At this point, I think I have enough information to get started with the case. I'd like to take a minute to structure my thoughts before getting started.
Sure, sure. Go ahead, please.
With a clear understanding of the problem statement and further clarity on some other details, we are now prepared to take a pause and structure the problem before getting started. I believe that we can look at our profits as the revenues that we're earning minus the costs that we are incurring. And therefore, my hypothesis is that either the revenues have gone down or our costs have gone up. Do we have any information as to whether either of these are true?
Well, yes. So you can assume that the revenues have declined to the same extent as the profits, and costs have not increased.
As with any profitability case, we start off by breaking our profits into revenues and costs. Understood. In that case, I'd like to further explore why the revenues have gone down. And I think we could perhaps look at this in terms of our revenue from our hard candies, from our mints, and from chewing gum. Do we have any information as to whether any of these or all of these have declined, and if so, by how much?
Okay, so we do not have a lot of numeric data for this case. So I'll give you everything qualitatively. The decline is majorly coming from mints. Hard candies have grossed the same as earlier, and chewing gums, although they have grown to a small extent, but they contribute very little. So you can assume that they have no role to play in revenue.
Understood. Right. So it appears that mints seem to be causing the entire decline in our revenue. And so I'd like to dive a little deeper into why our revenue from mints have gone down. Having identified revenues as the key cause of the downturn in profits, we then further break that up into the three sources of revenue. which are hard candies, mints, and chewing gum. I believe that we can perhaps break this down further into the number of consumers that we have purchasing mints to begin with, that into the number of mints purchased per customer, and that multiplied with the price that we are actually selling each of these at should total to our revenue. And therefore, my hypothesis is that at least one of these three has gone down. Do we have any information as to whether any of these have in fact declined?
Well, sure, yeah. So the total number of consumers has remained the same, and so has the price. But the average mints which is purchased per consumer seems to have reduced. So would
Understood. Right. I would now like to take a minute to further structure my thoughts and have a look at why the average number of mints per customer might have gone down.
sure, please.
With the knowledge that mints seem to be leading the drop in revenues and profits, we mathematically break that up into the number of customers purchasing mints, the average mints purchased per customer, and the average price per mint. To understand why customers might be purchasing a smaller number of mints, I believe that we can look at the overall customer journey and see if something has changed somewhere along the process. I think that there are 7 steps involved here. The first is the customer having a need to purchase mints. The second is their awareness. The third is accessibility. The fourth is selection. The fifth is purchase. The sixth is usage. And the seventh would be post-purchase behavior.
Right. Could you quickly explain me what you mean by each of the 7 terms you just mentioned?
Sure, of course. So by need, I mean that whether the customer still requires Mint, whether the use cases are still the same, or whether something has changed there. By awareness, I mean whether they're aware of our brand or whether something might have changed in our advertising. By accessibility, I mean the points of purchase, whether something has changed, making them less accessible. By selection, I mean the process through which they would actually pick out the mint, in that maybe its positioning in the shop has changed. By purchase, I mean the actual act of purchasing, whether something may have changed with the modes of payment accepted or something of that sort. When it comes to usage, I'm talking about how perhaps the wrapper is shaped, how the mint is actually used. Something might have changed in the flavor or something. And finally, in terms of post-purchase, I'm talking about the behavior of the customer, the aftertaste or anything that happens, any activity that they indulge in after consuming the mint. Do we have any information as to whether any of these 7 stages have changed in any way?
Yeah, sure. So you can assume that for all the stages which you have mentioned, there has been no change in the mints except the purchase part. So something has happened in the purchase stage which is leading to the reduced purchase of mints.
Understood. To identify why customers might be purchasing fewer mints, we go through the entire customer journey, going across need, awareness, accessibility, selection, purchase, usage, and post-purchase. I think that if the purchase seems to have changed without us or the retailer, the rest of the environment having changed in any way, there are likely 2 possibilities. One is that our product is in fact a byproduct of some other core product, or it could be a complementary product. In either of these cases, I believe that essentially there is some other product which is driving the purchasing behavior, and some change over there might be leading to a shift in purchasing over here. Is that a fair hypothesis to go in with?
Well, yes, it does look like. So could you probably tell me what a core product you're talking about could be?
Right. I believe that in the context of mints, what we might be looking at is that perhaps they are handed out as change, and therefore a shift in behavior where people are using UPI or Paytm might actually result in mints no longer being given out as change. Alternately, it is also possible that every time someone purchases a cigarette, they might also purchase a mint along with that. And any shift in the cigarettes being offered might also lead to a change in mint purchasing.
Well, the hypothesis is correct here. So what has actually happened is that the cigarette prices have gone up.
Understood. So if my understanding is correct, what seems to have happened is that cigarette prices have gone up, and maybe consumers usually hand in a standard 20 rupees, 30 rupees, whatever the case may be. And therefore they are now getting less change in the form of mints, and therefore the number of mints per customer has gone down. Is that correct?
Well, yes, that is the reason. Yeah.
All right. Given that purchase seems to be affected, even though nothing else all across the value chain seems to have changed at all, we identify that this is probably being impacted through this product either being a byproduct or being a complementary product. Intuitively, this proves to be right, and we find that cigarette prices having gone up is leading to fewer mints being provided as change in this transaction. I'd like to take a minute to actually break this down further and see how we can go about coming up with solutions to this problem. Does it make sense for me to get into this right now?
Yes, absolutely.
Through structuring, we've arrived at what the issue is, and we now need to identify what solution might help turn the situation around. In order to increase our revenues overall, I believe that there are two methods we can take. One is increasing our revenues from mints directly, and the second is that we can look at alternative modes of growing our net revenue for the company as a whole. Would it make sense for me to get into each of these one by one?
Well, yeah, sure, why not?
In order to increase our revenues from mints, I believe that we can either grow the number of mints that we are actually selling per transaction, we can bring that back up, or we can start looking at alternative modes or alternative avenues where we can start selling our mints. As for non-mint revenues, we can look to either grow our hard candy business, or we could look to grow our business from chewing gum, which I believe has already started increasing a little bit.
Yeah, well, yeah. So all these four things you have mentioned are pretty interesting, but why don't you take a crack at the increase the mints per transaction which you're talking about?
All right, I'd like to take a few seconds to restructure that once again.
Sure.
To arrive at a solution, we once again set up a structure where we can either grow the revenue through mints or grow the revenue through other avenues. If we're growing it through mints, we look at either increasing the number of mints per transaction once again, or look for new avenues of selling mints. If we're going to grow it through other products, we look at either hard candies or chewing gums as modes of growing the revenue. In order for us to increase the overall revenue or the number of mints sold per transaction, we can do one of two things. We can either increase the overall ticket size or the amount that the average customer pays when they come into the shop, or we can look to get a larger share of the transaction. If we're looking at increasing the ticket size on the whole, we can look at either putting in an incentive program to push the retailer to actually push our product further and therefore drive up the ticket size. Or we can start bundling our product or packaging it with more premium cigarettes so that people who are already spending a little more end up purchasing our mint. If we're looking at increasing our share of the transaction, we can maybe look at bundling our offering with the cigarettes that it already sells with, in the hope that volumes will go up and maybe we can get a larger share of that transaction through the deal. Alternately, we can also look at partnering with payment merchants so that there are a new number of transactions that we're also getting in as a part of, and we're getting a larger share of those transactions as well. In order to increase the number of mints sold per transaction, we once again put in a MECE structure of either increasing the size of each transaction or increasing our share of each transaction. Within this, however, we just go into creative solutioning and come up with some, but not comprehensively all possible solutions to the problem at hand.
Well, yeah, that seems pretty comprehensive to me. And I think we have reached the end of the case. Why don't you synthesize the case for me now?
Right. I'd like to take a few seconds to just capture the key insights before synthesizing.
Sure, please.
Having identified both the problem as well as a few possible solutions, we can now go into synthesizing this case. I believe that our client should look to increase their revenue from mints in order to offset the loss that they faced since the cigarette prices went up. I believe that they can do this in three ways. The first is that they would bundle their product offering or their mint with more premium cigarettes. This will ensure that both the transaction size and their share of transaction go up, driving up the revenue. Secondly, they could look at bringing in new pack sizes and pushing those in different avenues, maybe supermarkets or different points of sale. And third, they could also look at perhaps bundling their chewing gum with the lower end cigarettes, which they are currently already selling their mints alongside. This might help improve the overall share of the transaction or their profit margin in a channel which is currently under stress.
Perfect. I think that pretty much summarizes the case, and we could stop here.
In the synthesis, we start off with the problem identified and the broad level solution required. We then provide 3 different actionable ways of turning around the current situation. If this video or other videos in the series seem relevant and useful to you, do remember to like, share, and subscribe.